right. Well, you guys they missed the first two norms, I guess, and the introduction to Aaron and Julie, but you're going to get the rest. Sorry.
All right. All right. So I'm Jen Lawler. I am the K-12 math coordinator for Kenosha Unified School District. Prior to this role, I was a high school math teacher and instructional coach. Right now, I'm living primarily in the elementary world because we are implementing a new resource in our 26 elementary schools. So, yeah. So we had fun last year and we're happy to be back. So our third norm is respect everyone's views. Remember that you have something to learn from everyone else. Remember that everyone works at a different pace. Take some time to hear another person's take on a problem.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Coates. I teach 6th grade math, and our next norm is teach only if you have to. You may feel tempted to teach others in your group. Fight it. We don't mean you should ignore people, but don't step on someone else's aha moment. Problems should lead to appropriate mathematics rather than requiring it.
And then I'm Chelsea Arndt. I also teach 6th grade math, and our next norm is check in every 15 minutes. Your table leader will be asked to share at least one photo and to update the instructor on your group's progress every 15 minutes, but you can do it more often if you want.
And we're also still waiting on one of our participants.
That's okay. I mean, just again, thank you guys for getting here. I promise I will be on time, but I know it's really hard. And I know at the end of the day, sometimes as a teacher, running out of the school is not the easiest task. So I appreciate you guys getting here. Who joined us from Tulsa? I see a new face. Yeah.
My name is Christiana.
Christiana?
Yeah.
Awesome. And what do you teach, Christiana?
I teach 7th grade math at a junior high over here in Tulsa.
Cool.
And strictly 7th grade math. So
sounds fun. Cool. So are there any norms that people are like, no, this does not work for me? Or is there anything else that anybody wants to add before we kind of? All right. The one I just really want to highlight is not worrying about what problem number you get to and, feeling like, oh, I didn't finish the problem set, so I don't know everything I need to know. The authors of these problem sets, really, the intention is not to finish them. They are really thought-provoking, and if you want to kind of continue working on them throughout in between sessions, that's fine. If you want to have conversations on the side, that's great. But there is no way in our 2.5 hours plus a break or 2.5 hours inclusive of a break, so even less than 2.5 hours, we will finish these problem sets. That's just not the intention. And if we did, Matt would be like, what were you doing? Like, how is that even possible? So with that, I just want to also really thank Julie and Jen. They put in like extra time already this session by meeting with me last week to check out the different technology that's different. And you'll see we'll be sharing screens and pictures. So bear with the three of us as we're still navigating that. And also for getting all the supplies that we're going to need. For people that did this session last year, which I think is a lot of you, the content's totally different. It's super fun, in my opinion. I think year 2 is even more fun. It's about probability, game theory, and don't worry if you're like, I don't know those things, I have no background knowledge in that. That's okay. That's kind of how we start, and that's the expectation. So we're going to just kind of figure stuff out together. So now I'll be quiet, and I'm going to let you guys Julie and Jennifer have the problem sets. If they haven't already passed it out, I will let you guys start flipping coins. Okay.
So who are we reading for and who do we read?
We're waiting for Desiree, and Jake is not going to participate because he has his master's thesis classes Tuesday nights this semester. So
as a heads up, I can't make it the next one.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be in Iowa for professional development.
Yeah, there's one that I can't make either. The one in November, and I'm going to be in Colorado.
Okay.
For conference on trauma.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can miss. I don't know if it's 1 or 2, and then
Doesn't
and then you
interfere with spring break.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And then they And then they cut you after you miss 2. So
Just
Yep.
flip my. Do you need a coin?
yep.
No, because
Yeah.
it says don't do it.
Yeah,
yet.
the first time you have to make a fake one.
Oh.
You should just pretend.
Oh. Okay.
So I read through it and it says
I didn't read that.
right.
I read the part where it said flip the coin. Okay.
And then but it says write your name. So you're doing this twice. Okay, so on 2 separate sheets of paper, I'm assuming then.
Yeah. So
And it said write your full name on
basically,
it?
so I kind of read through. So basically, you do one fake one,
Mhm.
then you
And
do
then
it
do
for
it
real, and then I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna like post the pictures,
Okay.
and then we have to try and decide if somebody else's picture is like, is this their real one or is this their fake one?
Okay.
Okay. So you'd show the picture separately because if I did my fake one on top, I would
Yeah,
have
it
done.
says
Yes, yeah,
sheets of
2
paper.
separate
Oh,
sheets of paper.
okay. See, obviously I didn't read very well. Oh, instead I didn't read number 2. It's a different sheet of paper.
I'm just flipping through.
I believe it. That's my motto. 100.
What am I gonna? No.
I might have some in my.
Ooh.
I can count.
Header is 10 points.
Does it? No points in it. It's like if I think about my students, they would not put my name or follow your.
Oh no, exactly.
That has to be specific.
Precious.
Okay.
Oh, I did 2 exactly the same.
Now just for real flip it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is gonna take a while.
Right? So wait, a 1 is heads, a 0 is tails. Okay.
I didn't follow instructions today.
Going like roll dice. What if we're not good at flipping?
That's just like tossing it.
I know exactly.
It's eerily like me.
I think if I was truly flipping them, I'd get more heads. Oh. Jeez. What? I think a quarter works better.
Yeah.
If you have a different, this I just
don't
had
know.
a handful of pennies in my desk drawer that I grabbed.
Well, my real data is looking really unbelievable right now.
What's looking? Oh,
No, I'm going to.
One is heads and tails. Okay.
There's this fly.
I know.
Oh, that ain't terrible.
Get back.
I think the one tail.
Okay, got it. You only got one head.
oh, that's my quarter.
Oh. My penny likes the pretzels.
Somewhere over underneath you. Oh, there it is. There.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Ooh. Isn't it?
Take some pictures here.
I like it. My kids would love to flip the 225. We're always oh yeah.
Didn't you do this on like Mythbusters? They go to like the 10,000.
They might be like they still put out. Oh really? No.
Here you go. So, Deb, did you hear the teacher drama? The teacher from the home.
What happened?
What? No.
They have so many kids. Like, we have almost 30 in every class.
Okay.
And after their Friday count, they trained another teacher. And they took it from the home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's start
can.
tomorrow.
Do you know who it is?
I think it's one of their math teachers in 6th grade. She's really young.
I imagine.
I think her last job was originally Thurber, but she got married.
Okay.
She's going to teach English at our school.
So how many kids do you have at school, do you know?
280 something.
Wow.
One teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there she
And I guess Baumgart asked in June, in July, in August for a new teacher, and he's like, I did not ask for a teacher in September. I don't want a teacher in September.
Well, but in like a house system,
Mm-hmm. So they
How
lost a teacher.
how does a teacher
Well, so
help?
Well,
Right?
because they wanted him to reduce classes. And he said, well, I'm not mixing up the houses.
This is what like
I'm not
strike.
going to from houses. One, because they have licensing.
Right.
Some teachers can only teach social studies. And then he's like, so they decided it didn't what they decided to do was we're actually losing an English teacher in 6th grade because he's going to be a maybe. I can't remember. So they hired the lady from Mahone is coming, and she's going to teach English. And then they're going to hire another person, and they're going to co-teach in a different class.
I realize I really want to go up, not back down.
And we were all like,
Oh my god.
to get it to have like piece. So could we get the teacher job that you want to out the well? And they're like, no, we need another teacher.
Well, and I know,
Oh, she was like, okay.
like at Mahone, there were where they would they added 2 teachers, right? So they basically created so now I have a 2-person house. So one person teaches math and science, one person teaches English and social studies for like a mini house basically.
That came up in our meeting. Our Andy was like, well, they're only giving us 1 teacher. And we don't have the space for any more teachers in our building. We're out in the classrooms upstairs.
That's so ridiculous.
I felt terrible because what they were originally was going to do is the teacher that came from that be the co-teacher. And you're going to be her co-teacher. You're going to be person in then they came up with this plan, and I was like, well, she may not want to teach English, but at least she has her own classroom, and she's teaching.
It's just, and then that screws, and then at the same time that screws Mahone because now they don't have.
Now they're a down teacher, so they have to
organize
all their
they're
kids.
They gotta rearrange their kids, yeah.
They forgot. They never paid.
My principal was like, yeah, I did not want a new teacher in September. I wanted another teacher in the summer.
Well,
when I
and really,
requested it.
again, one doesn't help.
Yeah. Because we had, before school even started, they said we had 60 more 6th graders than the district anticipated.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, yeah.
So just out of curiosity, how many minutes are their class?
50 to 55, depending on the class period.
Yeah, ours are 43. And we have 9 transitions, so I teach 7 classes.
Four plus core time.
I don't like it. And it's been
Oh, because you used to
horrible.
have more, didn't you? Didn't you have like 90 minutes or something like that, but you used 34?
I used to have, last year we had, 6th grade had 90 minutes, but every other class had, like you said, like probably 54 or 54, something like that. But yeah, they put us all in the bell system and gave us all 43-minute classes, except on Friday, they're 39 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I had 40 some down.
So what is the where is the extra allocated then?
Advisory. And then I have 4 classes that are all at different levels, of course. Then I have core enrichment that has no curriculum, but instead of giving us extra time in class, they gave us a core enrichment because we're supposed to be enriching our core. And then we have another class that's SSR/Edgenuity.
See, we have core enrichment, and they've had that since I started, but it's we have 3 different groups. You can have an enrichment, you can have a priority day, or we get to pick and select kids who have to come to our class to do
We used to
math.
do that too, but we can't do that now. We can't separate them. So it's not a true intervention at all. We're supposed to I don't know what we're supposed to do, but it's horrible. I got 13. How do I get 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12. Yay. So yeah, this year has been horrible. My kids are horrible.
Imagine.
43
Transitions
minutes.
are hard. for
Exactly.
sixth graders in particular.
Exactly. Yep. That's what I said. And especially for the trauma kids, transitions are horrible, but they thought that 9 transitions would be good for them.
I can't handle 4.
I know, it was horrible. It is horrible. Social financial class comes around, I'm like, okay, tell me about powers. Oh, I didn't teach that to you guys yesterday. Okay, well, let's teach you about powers. And, trying to do anything like estimation 180 or which one doesn't belong, literally takes half my class. And then, now what?
Well, it makes you feel better. You're on powers. It's on multiplication because the teacher can put it multiplied.
Mine can't either. Mine cannot add 7 plus 2.
I will tell you guys, you will be blown away by the math that kids are going to come with next year.
Like, I don't know what goes on in elementary school, but like, I don't think ideas for 6th grade. One lesson on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing 4 numbers.
Because kids should come to middle school that's the whole point of elementary math, is that they should be coming to middle school with whole number operations. We can't, because then they're not getting access to grade level math when they're
And
supposed to.
they can't tell me, like, I shouldn't say they. I mean, I've got a class of like 28 that do phenomenal. I did a pretest for my first unit, and they all passed. I mean, they knew the only thing they didn't know was LCM and GCF, which is, not surprising that they didn't know it, but they knew everything else, All right. So devise a test that you could use to decide which one was which. Okay, and you're gonna mark one of your real or fake pages with the letter A, mark the other with the letter B.
Of our fake one.
I took a picture. I just took
Okay.
a picture.
Oh,
It didn't necessarily say, which was which. I just took a picture and I screwed mine up. So my first one up, I didn't read the directions.
Yes.
So one's A and one's B.
You guys were touched.
I got this one to figure out. Mark one of your real or fake pages. This is what, when it says mark one of your real or fake pages, I felt like there was more than one real page and more than one fake page.
No.
Suppose you were handed 2 lists of one real and one fake. Devise a test you could use to decide which was which. Be as precise as possible.
Like, my test.
Oh, it's like
In a row that were the same. Like, like, I feel like we're flipping a coin, 2 options that there'd be less pattern-esque. That makes sense, but that's not true in mine. So I no longer have tests.
When you sit there and look at how the test was taken, I did not do true flips. You know what I'm saying? Not what I would call flipping a coin. But so the one that is fake, do you think would have more of a pattern then? Because of what we're used to? Or do you think it would be?
would.
Or do you think the real one would be?
I guess I'm looking at the 2 that I have. And I feel like my real one has more in a row that are the same. Like more ones in a row and more zeros in a row compared to my fake one.
Yeah.
Like when my fake one, I was consciously trying to make it more
Even?
random.
You were trying to make it random, and in real life, it wasn't.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but like it's.
that doesn't.
So I think it would be interesting. To me, it would look
That turns me off. I
like
kick back my membership.
to go back and look at, like, if I looked at my fake one, how many of them are like 5 and 5 or 6 and 4, right? versus the real, and even though like maybe I had 3 heads in a row,
Especially since we all are in the same.
you know what I mean? It still ends up being like 5 and 5.
Uh-huh.
We should.
Are you on your fake one?
Yeah.
Or on your
No,
real
on
one?
my fake one versus the real one, and I don't know.
That is true. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I didn't consciously do that over here. 4, 5, and 6. Versus if I'm looking at my real one, like there's a lot that are more of one thing than the other.
But I wonder if
in
you
a
look
row-
at,
in a
but if you
row.
look at over, so like when you were doing this, even though again, maybe intentionally you weren't, like this one is more consciously like row by row, the probability is close to 50%. Where this one, if you look overall, the probability is close to 50%, but row by row, it's not.
You know what's crazy? I have exactly the same amount on both of them.
Huh.
I have exactly, because I'm like, oh, I got way more heads over here. And I'm looking at this, I don't have exactly the same
But I
amount.
hear what you say though, because like I have on my random one, I have a lot that are like 5 heads in
Yeah.
a row, not in the out of the 10.
Mhm.
Versus on my other one, it's not. But I wonder how many. Yeah.
So I think that would be to look at, I'm going to call it like the local probability, right? Versus the global probability.
Was hiring, but then we also are very low with enrollment numbers, so we wouldn't hire a teacher. Well, you know, hard to answer for a year, but, anyway. You got your 67, so I'm sure when you get all your slips.
Mhm.
Okay. You're looking for that. Okay. So what's your test?
Let's see which one's close to the probability of half, right? 0.5. That would be, I don't know. I spelled head wrong. And I don't even teach anymore.
Oh, good. Come up with a test. How many times do we
Really not believe for my big one how many heads and tails I had 60.
Wow.
And they were, oh my
That's funny.
gosh.
This is awkward because
You did.
we can just talk about it and we can't put the plan together. So I traded with y'all. You probably know that's when it's supposed to
But they're also telling you to trade from another table and there's only 3 of us.
We only have one table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you guys send me pictures, I can either trade your data sets, or you can trade amongst each other. But that's one way that we could trade, kind of like Kenosha to Tulsa,
Mhm.
if you guys upload those.
Okay.
No, also before, didn't we have like 5 groups of people?
Yeah.
We had one group that dropped out of ours, so we were supposed to be a group of 3, but I can't remember where. Her name was Elizabeth Marcellus, but I forgot what part of the country she was located in. But I think they mixed it up and are making them a little bit smaller going forward.
Share more.
So I remember that we had that group, those guys Chicago, like in a garage or something.
Yeah.
And I know, didn't we have some from,
Chicago.
yeah,
Chicago.
yeah.
You had one that you did all fake. You just made up numbers without looking.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, if you guys want to take a picture here, I'll show you.
Did you see my Slack post?
So you can just take a picture.
Let me just check right now.
So you want me to take it separately or together?
I would take if you can get them both in the same picture, that's probably fine as long as if you can see both of them.
Do you want me to hit use photo?
And then
No. This is mine too?
Yep.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I think we can send them out now. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1.
Okay.
Right?
So since we started at 4:30 now, are we leaving at 7 then?
I don't think I've seen it. But I don't really talk
I'm
to
gonna talk about 5.
I know, talk amongst yourself. Well, now we can use our theory and see if it works.
Phillips,
Kelly.
But they're like,
I'm
yeah.
not sure who the science teacher
I'm not sure who this
yeah, and be as precise as
I mean,
possible.
because she's into the science.
I'm just gonna say from a math perspective, there should be space. Or a teacher perspective, there should be space in the question.
Which one is feeling space?
I have to come up
Oh my gosh, I did that wrong.
with this.
The thing. What's the thing? Can you look at my numbers and tell me what you think?
Yeah, because you're supposed to exchange them and figure out, right?
This is your actual.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. How do you know? Well, yeah.
I'm really a savant. No, because like because my initial theory was right that it would have to be 0.5 would be the fake one, or like that would be I don't know. It makes sense in my
Are you
brain.
looking at a unit rate?
No,
Wait,
Come on, Yuri.
don't start that. Oh, that wasn't a joke. So like I calculated my probability, and for like my fake one, it just coincidentally turned out to be half. But my actual one, it was like my probability was 5100s and 4800s. Right, they're like approximately extremely close to the half, but not precisely with like human error. So I would say like the fake one is probably like would be either exact or way off. So like a bimodal, right? Is that bimodal? Yeah. So like the fake ones would come in like a bimodal distribution of like possibilities, and the ones like in the is this making sense? I'm starting to get confused.
So either it's gonna range on two spectrums, right? It's gonna be too far from halfway or too close.
Yeah, like approaching perfect, like a perfect probability, and approaching a completely imperfect probability.
So I think now, thank you, Jennifer, Julie, you guys sent some data sets. It's probably easier for Julie to just pull Kenosha's and show it to Tulsa, and then Jennifer, you can pull Tulsa's. Does that right?
Yeah.
I think that I'm trying to think about the easiest way to do it, and I'm realizing like you have the access to the pictures. I don't need to like send them to you. You have them.
I think including 1 and 5.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
So let me see.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, are you talking about, like, if you take one number out and don't return it? That's what
Well, there's that too.
I think you're right.
Inclusive.
I think you're right, inclusive one and
So
five.
then can you pick like,
Well, that's fine. That's because they're not saying to return it or not return it.
Because I was assuming the only ones that would make it, that would mean they share a common one, would be 2 and 4. So you could pick 2 and 4 or 4 and 2, but then you could pick 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5.
That's a good point.
I don't know what that includes.
But it just didn't have a name on it.
And probability. See, if you don't teach enough.
What did you?
That's so sweet.
I didn't know what anything meant, what it meant, so.
Do you know, Jen, is when it says for number 6A. Sorry, we worked ahead since we don't have our pictures yet.
Yep.
It says
There's one. I'll pull it up.
find the probability that when you pick two integers between 1 and 5 inclusive, they do not share a common factor greater than 1. Does the inclusive mean that they're picking including 1 and 5,
Yeah.
or does that have something?
No, it's just including 1 and
Okay,
5.
so then do you think when it says pick 2, could you pick
Like mine are within.
3 and 3, or are they separate numbers?
Like, if you pick 1, do you return 1, or does it, you know what I'm saying? Like, can I pick 1?
Run back.
So I think that's the note in the thing, in the margin there. There's more than one way to do this. Keep track of the assumptions you make. Consider comparing the different options here and the differences in corresponding
Okay.
results.
So I'm gonna start with the
That's right.
So it's with replacement or without replacement. Right?
I'm gonna start without.
I just.
All right, I'm gonna try and not hang up on you.
Okay,
Works.
Did you know?
But they can see the picture better.
perfect. And as you're going, if you guys could jot down, because these would make really helpful pictures for us, and especially when we kind of want to talk about it, jot down roughly. I mean, I'm taking notes too, which I will share this document, but jot down what kind of tests you're doing. So I can actually share a little bit of some of the things that I've heard so far, but if you want to keep track of, okay. Sorry, it's giving me like tips on how to share my screen. I'm like, I think I just want to share it. So some of the things that I heard, you know, like less patternness if it's fake, but in real life, there's like more ones or zeros. So that sounded like maybe something you might want to use as a test. It's overall about 50%, but maybe not row by row. So as you're developing and thinking about the tests that you're using to determine if it's real or fake, now I just had to figure out how to stop sharing. Oh, here we go. Stop screen. Okay. As you're figuring out if your data sets are real or fake, if you take some notes, that would be helpful for a picture. And then we're going to kind of share across the two groups in our case.
Oh, I did mine wrong. Mine is out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 20.
I was more looking at the whole. So that like not row by row, but and then you were comparing each other to see what are real and fake.
But greater than 1, so then 1 wouldn't count.
Right. Well, it says
But
1,
you
1.
were pretty close, right?
Well, like I did all.
Right, it wouldn't count as, yeah, what I got was
Okay.
2, 2, 2, 4, 3, 3,
Or they're
4, 2,
right.
4, 4, and 5,
I
5,
mean, I need a lot more.
with
So-
replacement.
And I
And
think,
then probability.
I think we'll have like a good picture.
We could use this other data.
Yeah, we can we have Kenosha's data?
Yes.
Is that the same school from last time?
Oh, I
No,
know, I see.
because it's, you want the probability.
It's like
Right, so it's 1/5.
I should have read.
They do not share. Oh, do
Well,
not
no.
share. Okay.
So how many share? 2, 4, 4, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 5, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They do not share. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, there is 6. I
So
caught
if
it
they do
wrong.
not share, it would be 19 out of 25
Right.
because 6 out of 25
Do.
share.
Right.
And then if you do without replacement, you would just cut these guys out. So you would lose 5.
That's a big
There would be 2 that share and 20 in total. I think it would be 23 out of 20. I'm sorry, not 23, 18 out of 20.
20.
Okay. I'm just gonna simplify this 9. So that's just one of the pictures?
So that's one, and then there's one underneath.
Okay.
So one is fake and one is real.
Yep.
But wait, not all of their rows have the same amount.
I like how they used graph paper.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Some of
6,
them are
7,
missing.
8, 9,
There's
10.
3 of them that are missing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
That's the one. That's the real one.
Hey Tulsa, we have an incomplete data set here.
Oh, that was probably Precious's. She came in. No, I just
That's
she got
her.
here late, so she
It's
just
her.
finished. I just finished. Yeah.
Aaron, do not throw me under
I
the
was
bus.
from everyone.
So I sent a picture from everyone.
62.
Would you like the complete data sets?
There's some empty boxes in the grid. We're like,
Are mine though?
whichever, the one that was on graph paper, the first one that Julie uploaded.
That's it. I got it.
Aaron, what are you doing?
At some point, I got tired, so I had to sleep.
Oh, so it wasn't me. Okay, we're trying again. So it wasn't even me.
Yeah, so this one, this one.
Okay, you said 62.
I think I said 72. 62?
I think it's 62. That's okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
12, 17. Let's see, I want to count this high. 17, 23, 30, 37, 41, 47,
Don't look at me like
54, 60, 66,
that's a nice number line.
73.
I haven't had a long. I haven't drawn.
What?
I was gonna make a joke. Just anyway.
Joke's over. That's only one of them. You don't have to real thing.
So that was
That was the real one because he's been on.
Don't tell everybody. She's hearing.
Actually, you just threw off my entire.
Well,
Everything else was like good. It was put together.
oh,
And here you
because mine
go.
is like
And here
60
you-
something.
And here you go.
It's not close at all.
Where went my theory?
Teenagers break my brain. They ruined my thumbs.
Well, then we'll just say that she's just an outlier.
The problem with an outlier, it has to be out of the data. The problem is hers is inside.
Minus, they have one row where it could.
The interquartile.
Okay.
We both have
Oh,
rows that have 3
Really?
or 7
Mm-hmm.
versus the 4 or the 5 or the 4 and 6 kind of thing.
That's Molly. I see her at church all the time, but I never think that.
I asked her, like,
But like, so
she was like, because I asked, how's it going this year? She's like, it's just really different. And with her eyes open, that means Molly.
there any but there's no 9-1s
So what I see here.
and no 8-2s.
There was an 8-2, I think.
Okay.
That was in. Oh wait. No, I think there was one that I could have. I don't remember.
I think if there's a 9-1 or an 8-2, it's real. It's not fake. That's
Oh, but like, what are other ways that we can test? So if they're doing like row by
There aren't any 9-1s or 8-2s.
DNA.
The numbers are. I think I'm outside the norm.
Yeah,
7.
7-3.
Oh, I have 1 8-2. I have 1 8-2.
That one doesn't have it. I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you're right on my fake one.
Oh, wait, there's one. That's 8-2.
7.
Precise, too far outside the norm.
Right.
and then and you said this the number of 7-3s was the same.
Watching him put together a legal graph so nice.
Minus on the first one, there could have been one more.
You can finish it.
There's
Well, and is this one?
Yeah.
This one's 11 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, that way.
Wait, that way. Oh, so
Then
Mm.
because there is
another one that is 2.
Something is not.
So when I
Something isn't not right in Denmark.
Degree.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think there'd be like a tell if there's like a 3-sided coin or something, or like a dice.
Right. There's another one. Do you want to see a different one?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. It's like,
Just look.
12.
Wait.
Because
So like I'm confused.
if I'm a human just assigned to order a random pattern. It's not truly
So
real,
like
you know? So
I just in the box.
I know, so did I. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
right.
Well, to me, the way that one is set up means that one's.
All what is it?
So I think they did the heads and tails and then they recorded it. They transferred it
leads me
into
to
the
believe
ones and
that's the real
zeros.
one.
Or they just didn't read the directions like I did. And they started writing H's and T's.
No, but the setup, like
Oh.
going for 120 instead of rows of 10.
Right.
'Cause it's rows
Again,
of
it just
20.
might not be reading
Well,
the
they do
directions
have an
very
8.
well.
They have an 8-2 that I see. Well, I think I see 2 8-2s. Isn't row 1, 2, 3? What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah,
Looks like 8-2.
So we need to get a normal dice.
and so does 10.
Yeah.
Got me.
And it has a couple 7-3s.
I like that they did it on graph paper.
Mm-hmm.
Way more
That's
organized.
something one to look at. Is there? Do they have another picture?
I'm smiling.
I'm just,
Yes.
I don't think this is the same. I don't think this is the same person. Oh, no, that's just work.
Mhm.
It's very interesting.
I think,
Today's only have
I don't know. Did you have any in your, did you have any 8.2s in your fake ones?
No,
Let me make sure. Look at my
Which
notes.
one? Which one was it?
Oh, no, I already looked.
no, I had a 7.3.
I want to say a P.
I remember all 4s and 5.
I had a couple 7.3s.
Yeah.
But I think as human beings, like
Well, because-
when you're trying to do something random and you know
It's supposed
the
to be
probability
50-50.
should be 50-50,
Right, exactly.
like
Yeah.
your
You make
brain
it
won't
more-
won't allow you to do a 9-1. Well, that's a funny question. We got new carpeting today. There might be one. Go look in the copy room right there. There might be one because where there usually would be one, I don't think it's probably there because of the carpeting.
Well, I'm looking at it row by row.
Right.
That's like the end of the key. I forgot how my son is. I'm off for a moment. Then I can't leave it in the car because it's hot. I think I'll stick it to the back of my room. Pull it out.
I think one of the other things we need to mention for like 6 is it's also assuming that order matters. That 4-2 is separate from 2-4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too because like we're doing factors right now, and I'm like, okay, write down 4-2. You don't need 2-4. So yeah, order matters.
My face is posted in my room.
Because yes, that definitely changes it.
Then if order didn't matter. Let's see.
What were your ratios? One of them was 50-50. Was that your real? Good. Real. What are these other numbers belong to?
One of them is when the digital.
Okay.
Oh, here's more pictures. Do you want?
Interesting. Actually, when order does not matter, you get the same probability because it's just
Oh
half of
yeah.
All right, here's new pictures that are
Sideways.
Yeah, it won't let me.
Okay. So there, they have an 8-2 right there on top.
Yep.
7-3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, here they have it in the margin.
Oh, well, that was nice of them.
There's 2 8.2s, a couple 7.3s, and we'll go to this one.
6-4, 6-4, 5-5, 7-3. Yeah.
Well, I was
That's That's a big one.
Closely, right? I was wondering what I was thinking. Because this one's a real one. If you look at it row by row, like this row, there was 8 heads and 2 tails. And I don't see any of these rows go all the way up to 8. For the most part, there are a couple where it goes up to 7 of one thing in one row. But they're almost evenly split, like half and half. So like 5 and 6. This is the big. Yeah. So I wonder if there's something to be said that in your head, right, row by row, you're thinking of, oh, I need like half and half. Whereas you're not ruled by that, so you can be dominant in one thing.
Give me a spreadsheet.
Now, what about like vertically? Because now I'm thinking
Ooh.
that would depend on how you put in your numbers. Because some of my numbers, I just went back and like up and down. If you filled in like,
Oh, I was going because I was
Yeah.
thinking because it said go by. Didn't it say go by row? So it's 10 flips per row. So because I was told to think about a row, right? Well, if I'm looking at a row, I'm reading from left to right. Yeah.
45.
like my curiosity would be like, how about you calculate those things? Just
57.
calculate all the heads because you don't need both, right?
But then like go column by column.
Yeah, so like I calculate how many heads you have in that column. It's do the same exact thing if you did horizontally but vertically.
Now think about it vertically.
Because like you
If I
weren't
wasn't-
organizing information vertically.
I was thinking it
yeah.
on a row. So what happens when we look? Did I make any mistakes? when we
And
think
then
about the
if they're like
Mm.
different, then I would say we can make it like a hypothesis.
It's interesting.
That'd be enough.
Horizontally and vertically.
You're being
I love.
Julia now. How many students? Elijah Taylor goes to him. She loves you.
Oh gosh.
She's on well.
Good.
If they're doing 6, don't you have the probability of 36? Because you have 6 and 6. Except when you had 5, you have 5 and 5, which is 25.
Yeah, probability when you're including replacement and the order matters, there's 36 options.
Right.
And there's 13 that are shared, which means there's 23.
I got 11. So I must have missed a couple because I have 2, I have obviously 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have 2, 4, 4, 2, 3, 6, 6, 3, and 4, 6, 6, 4.
Wait, repeat that. 4, 2, 4, 4, 2.
Yeah, 3, 6, 6, 3.
Yeah.
And then 4, 6, 6, 4.
You missed 2, 6, 6, 2.
Oh, I sure did.
This guy's moving today. I'm gonna get a
Mm.
So I think I'm gonna go on for now. 417, assuming
We don't have any time right now.
replacement.
Oh, well, this one is gone. Yeah.
Or
That's what I think.
matters.
How do you guys feel about talking about some of the tests that you guys all came up with maybe in about 3 minutes? I hate being interrupted. I know you guys are working on other things, but 3 minutes? Okay, perfect. I'm setting a timer.
Sounds good.
Do you want
Yes.
to take it together?
Yes.
A night class?
Yes.
Let's do it. I'll sign up.
So 417 everything that is
Good. And then we all do classes.
Can we like?
Yeah.
14.
I'm okay with that.
9. Should we divide?
That's it.
2 plus 2 is 7.
I cannot learn a language. But like I can get by.
I guess
So I would love to take Spanish because like I actually did college.
Yeah.
2, 8,
Spanish.
4, 8, 8, 4,
At the TCC Outreach Center, you should check some Spanish classes.
8,
Like mine, like for the public, not necessarily like enrolled students.
12, 14.
And they have like seminars with the people that are learning English, so like you can have the space and like the academic space to like
I got
practice.
21. Because you have 14, right? And then you have 8. Or 8.
Oh, I forgot 8, 8. So let me. Okay, and then for 1, 9, 9, 9, 3, 9, 9, 3, 9, 6, 6, 9, which gives me 21, 22, 24, 25, 26.
That's what I got.
8. That's assuming replacement.
All right, I really did set a timer because that is the kind of person that I am. Because I'm sure you guys know as teachers, like 3 minutes when you're not as actively engaged seems like forever, and when you're working on something, 3 minutes is like I'm done.
When you have the kids that I have, it's forever.
Yeah. So I've got like a couple things that I kind of pulled out, but I was wondering first if anybody just wanted to share something that they kind of noticed or thought about for their tests and between the difference between the fake data and the real data.
So one of the things I kind of threw out there was sort of looking at kind of the local probability of each row versus the overall probability. And sort of I think when you're like you're trying to be random, but you know the probability is 50-50, like those like row by row results tended to be pretty close versus the actual flipping, like you're probably going to see more 9 to 1 or 8 to 2 results than in the fake data. But overall, it was probably closer to a 50-50 than maybe the fake data.
I noticed that I think this is a Kenosha picture. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I shared this sheet with you guys. And one thing, what you just said, Jen, is one thing I definitely noticed. I put this down, like, yeah, the fake data, you just like won't have a string of 9 to 1, where in the real data, sometimes it is. And I think I also kind of heard your table talking about that when you're overall 50%, but not necessarily row by row. So and the words that you used were, I mean, they were great, very descriptive of the local probability versus the global probability. And then this one, whose picture is this?
That's not ours. That's from Tulsa. I don't know.
Cool. So, Tulsa, do you want?
Miss Aaron.
Hi, howdy, it's me.
Hi, Aaron. So, what were you doing with this?
So when I was looking at my real and fake data, I always thought that maybe just like as a human trying to produce fake data, like I was consciously biased that I'm gonna do my best like to make it, because I know the probability is gonna be 50% or half. I'm gonna naturally do that. So what I did, and then I assumed the real data would be like approximating or going towards like a perfect distribution, like a perfect 0.5. So I thought maybe it might be like a bimodal distribution where your fake data would be nearly precisely, or if not perfectly, have that perfect probability of 0.5 or extremely wrong.
Okay.
And then the in between those areas would be like the actual probabilities, which are just like approximations of that 0.5. So I made a dot plot of like real versus fake numbers. I don't have enough entry points to make it valuable, but that's what I have so far.
But so far, and let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, but so far that was working, sort of the idea of it's being 50-50 or really, really close to 50-50 was fake, or it was super off.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Are there any, I mean, this sheet, I think we already kind of talked about this, but you can feel free to, one thing I'm going to try to do is eavesdrop on your conversations. And then by eavesdropping, I can take some notes so that we can share. You want to say hi to my people on the, oh, okay, well, I'm working. Sorry, my 9-year-old just came up to say hello, but he doesn't feel like saying hi on the computer right now. I do a lot of work these days from the computer, so he's like, sees me constantly conferencing. So yeah, so one of the things that this sheet will do, and please feel free, like this is for everybody, just the main page where I just shared Aaron's picture, if you feel like you want to put something up there to discuss, please feel free. I'm going to do my best to pull things out that I think are a little bit unique or a little bit different. But it's hard, obviously, because I'm trying to hear 2 different groups of people at one time. So that front sheet is for everybody to share on, and along with, you know, the like updated 15-minute pictures. And then I'll keep a list of running observations so that that'll help us know what we're talking about too. So now it is 5:45. So it is like mandatory that you take a 15-minute break. Like I'm going to walk around, but I'm going to peek at the computer, like go stretch your legs. I don't know. Chicago's having crazy weather. It's like 90 degrees, literally. It's super odd, but if it's more temperate in your location, go take a little walk around the block, go whatever you want to do. But I know it's hard to just sit. And as teachers, we always do it, especially in PD or PL or PLCs or whatever the P word is. And then we get really tired. So, and I know that from experience. So I'm going to walk around for 15 minutes and I want you guys to walk around for 15 minutes, but then we'll see each other back at about 6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Break.
Yeah, it's
Actually, I think I have Pepsi. Guess it might.
yeah. The Diet Coke has been empty, so I don't know.
I don't even know where to start when it comes to probability. Like finding a rule, like that's what I'm like. How do you find a rule for it? That's where I was. Devising a test, looking at data sets and devising a test to decide which one's real and what's fake.
What about like standard deviation, right? Like it seems like the real data has like a larger standard deviation because my real data has a larger standard deviation because there's a couple rows where they're like all zeros and like a 1, and it just happened like that. Versus my fake data, like it's, although like there is like discrepancy, it's pretty close to that. I don't know.
So you would do like standard deviation.
I would like
each
look
row.
up standard deviation for each row, or if not, like the table in general, like going across. Because I think that would, well, I couldn't for the whole table because it'd just be one. Yeah, that's my thought.
That's what I'm thinking. Because if you look at it row by row, like I'm wondering if I looked at more of these and compared more different like real and fake rows, I see that I think that I'm gonna make a conjecture that the fake one is going to have more perfect half and half rows than the real one.
We can count that though. So like what? So like
this
counting
one,
exclusively. Oh, all the perfects are pink.
all the perfects are pinks, all the close is yellow.
Ooh.
Right? So here I had 3 exact, and here I had 4 exact. So this is my real one, this one's my fake one. If you look over here at Precious's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 5 perfects in her fake one. Here, our fake one, she has 5 perfects, and in her real one, she has 3. So that number is still less than the real one has less perfect rows. Yeah.
Which kind of leads to what Erin was saying before. We're naturally biased towards wanting it to be 50-50. So we create something as close to 50-50 as we can get without actually counting.
And to add my stuff into my fake was I had 4 perfect rows, and my real I had 2 perfect rows.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like an excellent roll.
Find it out. That makes sense. I'm gonna take a picture.
Cool. And
That
literally
was me.
everyone's gone.
Look, I just contributed something to the math conversation. A whole year later.
Yes. You just have the mind space now.
I do.
That's real.
I was so damn overwhelmed
That's
last
real.
year.
I can't even imagine. His first year teacher is like that. And then he put CFA on top of that. In middle school. I mean, it's like
Are there? We're going every Wednesday night practically. Unless the ones, except for the Wednesdays before an all-core conference and after an all-core conference. So I think for the most part, we're going about 3 to 2 Wednesdays out of the year. And then they're making us do more with our MTLDs. We have to do this whole portfolio thing and fill out reflections. Christina Naramore.
Oh, she's new.
She's new.
I heard great things about her from JD.
JD?
JDR. I know her as Jakia, but she's kind of like shifting what she goes by. Black girl. She's for first years though. She's a DTLD for first years.
Oh, really? Okay, so we are completely separated from first year staff. Is she new? I mean, she's not Holly.
No one's Holly.
And that's probably her biggest fault is that she's not Holly. She's just too bubbly, and like too much drinking the Kool-Aid, CFA Kool-Aid. Whereas Holly was.
Because she came from Carolina though, didn't she? She came from Carolina.
I just heard she just drinks.
Sorry.
I mean, same. I think so. She came from somewhere real rural.
Yeah, I think it was Eastern Carolina. That's also where JDI came. I'm gonna be a content lead for first years.
In math?
Can I go ahead and rejoin the core and be a first?
Get away from here.
Who was saying that we wondered if we like filled out an application for next year, how far we could get in the interview process before anyone.
Oh, I can get farther than Joe for sure. I
Oh, that would be hilarious. Just apply it again and be like, psych, I'm already in there.
I think I want to apply to be a content lead from next year.
Well, although I hope that like everything comes together in like Webster for you, but there's
Work for Teach America.
Teach for America. I think you would be excellent.
I don't think all the too late though.
No.
Maybe even city year, like one of the staff positions that they have either as like impact managers or they have so many different positions of folks that even you work within the community but still support city here. And having been a teacher in a Title I school and like knowing what it takes.
I miss that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't have any?
Oh,
or you didn't have any?
I have.
And then
There's Natalie. There's Natalie, who's now with Mr. Samra.
Oh, how does he feel about having to see you?
I mean, he's fine with these.
Yeah.
One of them people in his room, but I'm sure he didn't.
You
Like the kids come by. Of course, their lessons are going to be with you. That's what they do. They tell him they love him. So, but quite a few of them, the ones that she was like, I know she was supposed to. Like, she thought once they got match scores, she on purpose this and stuff. Yeah. I don't understand anything he says. He goes so fast. So Miss Natalie just takes us to the library and breaks it down for us. That's what I'm thinking. So I think she's probably working harder because it's just different. I mean, we worked all the time, but it was like we worked as a team. Yeah. She just has to, but she's super bright and real intuitive, so she'll be good with this.
Also, Educare. Educare is hiring master teachers. It's like, and I'm not entirely sure what Educare does, but it's very much like a Title I, like pushing to school. They have like a clinic on school sites where they do like wraparound, and they need a master teacher. Because
Is it little kids?
I don't know.
I thought it was early childhood.
I thought so too.
It might be. Just kidding. I know. TCC.
Not
You
that
know.
I couldn't do that. I think I'm too old. I mean, I think I could have done it when my kids were little, but my body is too bad. I'm too old and my knees are too bad. You have to be able to
get
down and get up and not like that, not hurt.
I couldn't do it. I already know.
I mean, I love it. If I had someplace I could sit that they could just come sit on me. Okay, but I can't. But like when I have to get all the way down, it's just ugly.
Well, I think you'd be training just teachers, almost like an evaluator or mentor. I don't know. There are so many options that I think you'd be
I don't
absolutely
think
perfect.
anybody at the district level ever thinks less than 100,000. All those people up at the USC. I'm looking at them like a couple years later. I'm not gonna like what I do every day. Try to change that culture. I'm gonna look at but PCC. You know, I teach there. I can't teach math at PCC because I don't have any master's hours in math. You have to have 30 hours.
Oh
of master's.
yeah.
I can teach theology. I teach 2 theology courses.
That's
A semester online. I refuse to go. I can't go 2 nights a week or anything like that. But I teach introduction to religious studies and world religions, Western traditions.
That's
And I love it. It's fun. It's different, and it's
I always thought you were teaching math when you talked about your TCC.
Yeah, me too.
well, I remember to do that.
What was your master's in?
Theology, and I have a law degree.
Okay.
So
Could you technically teach law with the JD?
probably I could teach philosophy. I used to teach philosophy as an adjunct for St. Greg's when they had the Tulsa campus.
To solve the problem, you know.
It's where I struggle because, like, we're big on assumption and it's assessing
TFA
skill.
sends
So, like,
alumni alliteration emails. And they have tons of like open positions.
insight, attention, balance
So
between
it's a variety of positions.
your,
I can always forward that to you if you want to look deeper into.
what are you grading? Their knowledge, ability, or their ability?
Thinking
It's
of
kind of
right.
Yeah. You're almost there though.
Yeah, but we got
yeah.
Oh well.
we
Almost a
got-
week and a half.
Yeah, and then
When you borrow, and then the whole problem's wrong.
Kindle winner. I hated my guts. She almost failed a semester of geometry. My whole body where everybody was convinced that she wasn't turning. Get her back on track. She's become involved in student council. Right.
Oh, we keep having lockdowns at Lincoln, we full of rats. We had 1 today, and we had 2 on Friday.
Those two are really
We do our Ellisville too.
So it's a hot mess everywhere, is what you're telling me.
I mean, Linda walked out of the room the other day after
And the kids, you know,
Three people
well,
meeting
on Friday,
and I'm just over listening.
the first lockdown was right at the end of
You know,
sixth grade punch.
What's that?
So they were just, and I said, no
Yes.
transitioning the kids. With my kids.
You know, 'cause
I had girls that were in tears, you know, their first stuff. And then the custodian, I didn't know this until they tried to see if the doors were locked. Well, now you hear someone, sounds like someone's trying to get in.
We don't mean it disrespectfully, it's just enough like, but you don't know. Well, we'll talk to those kids. You can't, you know, you can't know. I said, no, you don't know, we have quite a few transitioning. Yeah. Really? We get her over. Wow. I don't want to be disrespectful. They can't keep the gender going out, right? I can't, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's what I can do.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
don't get me now. But, yeah, so it's like, yeah, they're all over. We'll talk to
They
them.
were 15 at the end of the day.
Okay, so let's think about this, like, how many times somebody said to you.
It doesn't look like he wants to talk.
Okay. But kind of just jokingly. And
So the good news is everybody could come in knowing how to do area multiplication.
You laughed along with them, but you and I.
You know what a ratio table is and how to use one.
So ratio tables, I have certain because it's so far into the year,
Mhm.
and if you get them really good, they're fractions.
But this other idea, this
No.
is
And they
Did
could come in with a much better understanding of fractions.
I learn partial quotient division?
now remember, when
Mhm.
I learned this summer, we got to build consensus. I'm like, oh, people,
That's so
which
perfect.
way do we want to do that?
Yeah, I'm like,
That's so perfect.
We have teachers that didn't know partial quotient.
there's this really cool website called Play. It's their NCTM.
Mhm.
And I used it during core today, and my kids kind of kick out of it because they could pick their character and what you would feed them. And it shows them all sitting around the table.
Oh, next week's homecoming.
So,
Oh, yeah.
There's some good
That whole
websites on prime factorization that I really like,
football game.
where they actually make the trees. One was real interesting because it was like, one was math playground, and the other one, I don't know what the other one was, but I think this was math playground. You had the choice of either doing prime factorization or LCM and GCF. So they did the prime factorization, and then they had Venn diagram, and you drag the prime factors. And it was really interesting because I've not taught them LCM or GCM, but some of them chose to do that. And it was just a real interesting visual. And what was nice is like you'd enter in the two numbers and then you could check you are correct. Then it would show which one's prime and which one the true granted by the one that wasn't prime, which
And this would be
As long as you put it in.
vectors, multiples, like
Mission Mac.
About it.
You already put it on ASOP?
stuff they will know.
Oh, if they're not sub, website does not. You're fine.
I want.
Yeah.
Technically, we're also
but see, I mean, there are things that these kids should know now because I've had kids go through KUSD that do know. My kids
Oh,
don't.
no,
You know, part of it is we're such a transient society, and these kids, I literally, like I said,
But I think I might
baking that they do not know. This one kid was yelling at me. I mean, my behavior is this year was horrible. It's just a horrible year.
That's
And he's yelling at me. He's like, no, I'm not teaching or anything. Read this definition once for teaching
pull the wool size.
when the student learns something. And I told him, you're absolutely right. I'm not teaching anything because he's not learning anything.
I have to tell her that's what you're teaching me. And the whole class goes, yes, she is. You're talking during it. And I've had this argument with him twice today.
Free to answer.
You told me you didn't teach this to me. I was like, I did try to, but then every time I sit down right next to you to do it, you chose to talk to your email. So then I chose to walk away because there's 28 other people in this room who also need my attention. And I can't be, you didn't say that. You can't tell me that. She's like, I emailed it to your mom history. You can't tell her that. That's not the truth. I'm like, there are 28 other people in this room. Can't you see it? Like, you're not the only one. Everyone else is so
I mean, I don't.
Who are you?
I literally have at least 5 out of 24, 25 in each class that just scream at me during the class for 42 minutes, 43 minutes.
I've gotten been just that this year, but it's just like
It's just a really rough year, that's all. And then you got the other, 24 kids standing there silently waiting to be taught, which I try to teach and ignore these kids yelling at me to get out of their face. And I'm like, well, you're in my classroom. I don't know how to get out of your face. I've asked you to leave my room and you refuse to. If you would leave, then I could get out of your face. And I get this, shoot. Yeah. We have 3 deans, 1 per grade level. Unfortunately, our 6th grade dean has been living in the basement because that's where our self-contained kids are.
I guess everything has to really come.
That's where he's been. I mean, he's very, very apologetic to me, but I'm like, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
One of my same courses 17 this year.
No, you can't know.
You can't technically test redesign until
It is.
4 or 5. Like,
All right. So I hope you guys stretched your legs. I did, not too much, but a little bit. And I think now feel free. I know there's these really are kind of meant to go at your own pace and as much as you want to do. So if you're still trying to refine tests and think about ways to improve it, based on my eavesdropping, it sounded like both tables had kind of moved on a little bit to 6, and thinking about that. And I heard this being clarified, I think, at both sides, but right, there's a lot of ways you can look at it, and that we're not kind of going back even to those norms. Like, we're not looking for one right answer. There isn't really a right answer, as long as you're just explaining how you're identifying the set and what it means to you. And then as people are working on it, if Julie and Jennifer will just send me the pictures, and any annotation you want to do on the pictures makes it that much easier for discussion, but up to you. I mean, I don't want it to be overly not authentic. So, but as you're working and thinking about the different pairs, I heard someone too, I'm not sure exactly, I think it was at the Tulsa table, talking about doing they were learning greatest common factor or teaching greatest common factor in their classroom. Did I hear that right?
We were talking, Kenosha was talking about that.
Kenosha, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right, to like think about the connections there. So we can talk a little bit about that maybe towards the end. But all right, I'll just let you guys kind of get back to where you are, and I'll look for those pictures and probably harass you in maybe about 10 minutes if I don't see any new ones come through.
7.
Hold on, let me take a picture of your.
You can
Number
try
5,
to figure this out. Try to be more organized.
It's all right.
I mean, I don't have percents or anything. I just did it out.
Oh, good.
So they said it's obviously fake. And I'm thinking, I don't know how obvious it is, but to me, that would be.
I think if it's obviously fake, then in 10 seconds or less, estimate the proportion of fake data sets that are exactly 60 heads and 60 tails. I'm gonna go with 90%.
Why?
Because, like,
There's a proportion of the fake data that have been. Okay, so
because
it's
I
fake.
think we're
All right,
trying to
I
make
see what
it
you're
fake,
saying,
so
yeah.
we're trying to make it be even.
I guess I was thinking real data set. That's why I was like,
Oh.
yeah, I totally agree with you.
And then for B, in 10 seconds or less, estimate their portion of real data sets that have exactly 60 heads and 60 tails. I would go with 60%. I don't know.
I know, because I mean, mine was on paper exactly the same. That's the funny thing. Yeah, it was 66.
I didn't count mine.
Mine was 66 because I thought I had way more heads on the real one, and then when I counted, it was exactly 66.
See, I had 60. What did I have? I had 66 on the real one and like 70. A very unfair fake coin. 73 on my fake one.
Ooh, okay, I'm ready. I've made a conjecture.
Crazy.
I'm ready to move on to 4 if you all are ready.
Yeah.
I had 58 on my real one.
And do you know what had on your fake one?
So mark each of your pages with blue or green. Doesn't matter which is which. In exchange, you like but remember which one is real. Don't look. I shouldn't switch with you because you know, don't you technically?
Also, remember when it said write on 2 pages and I did not read the
You read it and you said, I'm not gonna do that.
And you got on me about the name thing.
Oh, I'll remember.
Well, I feel like there's a, honestly, I feel like there's the probability or the proportion of probability rate is actually rather equal in this context because one, in real life, it kind of balances itself out because it's random, and then
Because I only have one.
trying to make it random, but we're also adding in on the fake one a bit of realness to it.
Yeah. Trying to make it real, yeah.
So I would go from like my estimation. I think each one would be like 70 to 80% because but there's a
Okay.
Right.
So we don't need.
no. Probably my two. I would go like 50%. Because I bet there would be a solid few that would be at like 58.
Wow. Here.
Aaron's out. Get out. You were done.
Percent or less.
I'll write a proof or something. Yes, let me. I can't pull together the unit circle. Don't worry.
Anything other but.
I don't know.
That's so perfect.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I wonder if there, like, if you used a computer generated flipping a coin, you know, because the way I'm flipping my coin is just so not. I mean, because you're in a hurry and you're sitting at a table and
I already did this though. If I looked at, you already organized the data
so
for
I'm
me,
like
and I already said
this.
But even if you're 50, I had 58.
I still had 66, which I'm really surprised.
66.
Kind of refined
I
it.
had 56 heads. I had 55%.
What would you do next time?
55% heads.
You weren't crazy enough, right? Isn't that what we
But I know what you're saying, because even if it's real data, like you said, I don't know.
So knowing that you want your.
I guess on my mind, I'm thinking if they had exactly 60 and 60, it would most likely be fake.
But like,
Because like you said, with real data,
I initially know that.
yeah. But I don't know that you have exactly.
When I say like fake, that
I
means
think it's funny
oh,
that mine ended up.
the coins are almost perfect. That challenge
With me.
in my mind that
So
the real one will be perfect.
what I found,
Fake has to be really close to perfect, but not.
120 tosses,
Oh, that's
right?
funny.
And then
I don't think that there's enough people on
it
this
took me 4
I've seen yours and I've
tosses,
seen yours, so
4
it for me is like
repetitions, right? So 4 times
Isn't that like 20?
get to exactly
Oh,
a
that's funny.
50%.
28 has to be better.
And I think that's the point, is it's probability. So do you have the theoretical?
I got those yesterday.
That should happen all the
It's
time.
kind of cool.
I know, totally.
Mhm.
If it doesn't, if it's not a normal distribution, to assume normalcy, if I can apply those tests, it either has to be national or
That
has
was 4.
So we're not close either way.
Isn't that interesting? So now you did it again and it's different.
6.
Well, so should we look at 6 and see what's happening as we move on?
Yeah, because I just
It's
6.
Okay,
interesting.
I'll be confused together.
I'm guessing 0 actually have.
Wow, so close.
Never actually made
But I think that's the thing. It can be really cool.
I don't know, but the openers for last time was such longer questions. Sometimes we get
I mean, if you rounded, it would be 50 and 50.
Right, but
Yeah, we did. Because-
We never got it to the never did.
No.
I'm sure. No.
Starts going the opposite direction.
Mhm. Because we have all those high school.
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. So I bet 0.
Consider 1 a perfect square.
I agree. 1 a perfect square?
Yes.
I tell my kids it is.
Well, I mean, it's 1 times 1.
Yep.
But I just want to like confirm.
9, 16, right?
Mm-hmm. I was just talking about this the other day.
36.
So
Up through 20.
So the probability for the first one is 4 out of 5. Right.
Can you not pick the number, the same number again?
Ooh.
But it would have a common factor.
Four.
Well, I mean, it's the same number,
Well-
but it would, I think,
21, 144,
as a factor. So then
169.
But if you
1,
pick
2, 1, 3, 1,
3,
4, 1, 5,
right, well,
69.
23, 2, and a 2.
13, 14.
196.
Okay, so we're just picking 2. We're not like repeating, right?
So that's how many? 14.
Like one time, what's the probability when you pick of getting 2
1, 2, 3 times
that do not share a common?
14.
14. So 14 out of 200, which is 7 out of 100.
That shares a common factor.
Two and four.
So what are the combinations?
Not to 2,000.
1, 2, 1,
Why
2,
is there some sort of pattern here? I don't know. This
3, 2, 5.
Okay. No, the first one isn't it 4 out of 20? 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4.
And
Oh, yeah.
So which one?
take
I thought you said craft.
Wait,
What would you like to craft?
I'd rather have
oh,
that.
I know how you can do it. You take the square root of 2,000.
I want to make some art and crafts.
2,000,
I know she doesn't. Do you want
whatever number is your target square.
I don't want me to have the craft.
Yeah.
So, well, 2,000, if I want to take the square root, is like, I'm going mathy here, 20 times 100,
Oh, very good.
which is 10 times square root of 20, which is, what can go in there, 4 and 5. So the 20 is the square root of 5,
44.
44. So is it 44 point
There,
something?
and I cannot put it.
Yeah. So 44 squared is 1,936.
So that would mean we'd have 44
Because we're
out of
picking
2,000,
So
which is,
So-
22.
no, it's 5 times 2. It's because you're picking
We can do the same thing with
combinations.
20,000, right?
Is that it?
Yeah.
So there's 10 possible combinations. That's-
It's 141. Bless you.
4.
Well, but we don't for probability. We have to pick one.
Squared.
Okay, so it'd be 9 out of
Ah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Oh, 14.
So it can be
Did
anything.
you say it was 141 something?
Just 140.
9 without 24.
1,000 is 140.
Well, it's 140 something.
Okay.
So the largest perfect square less than 20,000 is 19,600.
You know what's going
So there's an interesting pattern. So it was 16,
I miss you.
it was 196.
2 weeks since I've seen you, but it's like so much longer.
Okay, so then we have to repeat.
Then 44 squared was 1,960. And then the 140 squared is 19,600.
That's interesting.
What does that have? Well, 14 squared, or 140 squared is 140. Well, that makes sense. Because 140 squared is 14 times 10 squared. And you would give each of those one of those. So it'd be the same thing as 14 squared times 100. Yeah.
So 6, you just added 2 more possibilities.
Well, 2, 4, 2, 6, 4, 6, 3, 6. So now we have 4. And we added one more
You
number.
said 2, 6, 3, 6. But I can't do 2, 6, and 3, 6 because they're factor 2.
Right, those are ones you can't do. Right? So 2, 6, 3, 6.
What's happening in the long run?
That's 4 with 4 possibilities.
I only added 2 more possibilities.
Okay, so which one am I Have I added?
I added 1, 6, and 5, 6.
Okay, so the ones that you can draw.
Then if it
So
was,
I'm at canvas.
Okay, that's what.
if we added a 0, wouldn't it just be,
I get $80.
well, 20,000? It'd be 200,000, which is the
We
same
add the
thing.
first 9 with the next 2. So then it would be 11 out of.
2,000
Then it couldn't be 6
times
times 2.
100.
Doesn't get eliminated. Right?
Well, I added that.
So wouldn't the probability
11 out of 15.
for
15.
when n is 200,000
Ability.
be just 100 times
I wrote out.
44?
Doing it.
It would be
Because the first round was 6 times 5, 10 possibilities. So we had 2
No,
times 6.
I lied.
40.
440, right? I think the square root of
But how can we
200,000.
not write it down all 15?
Oh, that's what you're saying.
So why is it, so then are we sure that it's 10 possibilities of it? Well, it's 5.
Let me write them all down.
No, that's not, there's more than that.
It's more than 10.
Because there'd be 5, or there'd be 4. It's not times, it's plus 3, plus 2. 3, 2, 2 is 4, 3, 2. No, it's 10. Okay, so that's what's happening. Is it, so here it is, you've got 5 numbers, and you're gonna pick 2, you've got 5, you've got combinations, you've got 4 combinations with 1, and then 1 is gone.
Oh, and then 3.
Then you got 3 plus 2 plus 1. To the end, that gives us 10. Now you've got 6, now you've got the 10 plus 5 more, 6 combined with each of them. So then it's 10 plus 5, so that's where the 15. So then 7 is gonna be plus 6,
more.
so it's gonna be 21.
8, 21 plus 8 would be 29 for 8.
7, you're gonna add 7 because we added 6. So what is that?
Does it matter that
Are
like
those triangular numbers?
does it just like
If I'm
so
trying
are
to
we
write
saying
them all,
that
no, they're
order
It's just
matters?
the square root of n
Order doesn't matter.
Yeah.
and
So
round down.
Well, it's I mean, it basically ends up getting really, really close, getting smaller, right?
Yeah,
Because the prime numbers are further
very true.
apart. Or perfect squares are further apart.
Probability gets smaller as squares get farther away from each other.
yeah.
Do you know what's each number? Did you test out triangle?
Right.
I don't think so.
These are numbers that are in triangle.
You roll a die 4 times. If you roll
Because I did it
4 times,
5 times.
you roll a
Wait.
pair of dice 24 times. You win.
Wait, I have a question. Maybe I'm being ridiculous. So in 8C, we
Okay.
have 44 over 2,000, right?
Yep.
Which is 22 thousandths.
Yep.
So, but B would be 14 200ths. Oh, yeah, never mind. I figured it out. You're right. 70. I was thinking backwards that it should. You're right. The probability gets smaller. I was thinking it should get the other way, and it was my mistake. I figured it out.
If you want to like, this is beautiful. Don't look at that.
I've already said that.
Okay, and the first one.
My notes of the, that highlighted there.
100. Right. Okay, never mind. I figured it out. I did some math.
It's that noise all the time.
9. 8.
Dana,
It's gonna
that's what
go.
I'm going with.
Okay, over there.
As I do.
What is the total number of possibilities for 8? They do it from 1 to 8. What is the total number?
So if it's probability, and for game 1,
Mm-hmm.
the chance to win a 6 is 1/6,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing it 4 times. Do you add those or do you multiply?
That's fine.
28.
So 1/6 times 1/6 times 1/6.
What is the actual number?
But that's for getting it
That's for getting it every
every
time.
time.
But you only want to know one time, so isn't it 1/6?
The actual number that we use is 28. No, 48.
If you're doing it 24 times, you have 24 outcomes. And if you have 24 outcomes,
So
because you have 6 possible outcomes on a die, and if you roll it 4 times,
right, but actually, if I'm rolling a die 4 times, I
Mhm.
have 6 to the 4th.
because it's 6
Possible
times 6 times 6
outcomes.
times 6. Okay.
So the 1/6 to the 4th outcomes. So there's what? 6 times 6.
And 1/6
And you have 4
and
options.
1/6 of those should include at least 1/6.
For 1 to 6.
From 1 to 7.
Okay, so 1,296 possible outcomes.
That all-
That's the 4th power. And you're saying that at least one of them should include 1/6.
So this is all of the for 5. And then we had 2 more for 6. And then these are the ones that I added for 6. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 total. So out of 21, do we get 17 possibilities?
Is that right?
Well,
Or is that not right?
do we want a probability or do we want the number?
You want to know which game would you rather do?
I know, but don't. So
Aside from
wouldn't
that-
you want like the probability
Yeah, of getting a 6.
if you roll it
Any at
4
all.
times?
Yeah.
So if there's 6 to the 4th outcomes, you can roll a 6 the first time, but it has a whole bunch of different numbers. I don't remember all my math checks because you could like roll. Because you could have a 6, a 1, like I don't know.
Wait, you know what? I take that back. Right. So there's 6 to the 4th total possibilities. But then if I'm thinking about so if I'm thinking about my 4 numbers, right?
Mhm.
So 1/6, I have a 1/6 chance.
Right.
So 1/6 of all those possibilities,
So
right?
1/6 out of
1/6 of them
A 6 in the first spot.
are going to have a 6.
There's that word starts with an F.
Well, I wonder if it was
Like they use the exclamation point.
Factorials.
Factorial.
Does that have play in here? I always remember that probability.
we haven't even.
So I wonder if this is one of those problems where it's actually easier to figure out how many options
Because all
don't have a 6.
also now with 10,
Yeah.
If you add
Well,
a number like
you
7,
have 5 options in each of the spots that aren't 6.
you're gonna at least get half.
So then, if your first one doesn't have, there's 5/6 chance for each one that it's not a 6. So if you're combining your thing, wouldn't that be 5/6 times 5/6 times 5/6 times 5/6? Because you want the probability of in the first one, you don't roll a 6,
Did it go up?
5/6.
Mhm.
Then you want the probability of the second one to not roll a 6.
Six.
That's 5/6. So wouldn't it be 5/6? To the fourth, which would be 25. No, what's 5 times 5? No, 5 times 5.
125 times 5.
Because it seems like we all did it the same.
The floor is 625.
That's what I was going to guess.
So
And then-
625 out of 6 to the fourth.
1,296.
Right.
1,290.
So then we need to take probability will be 1,295.
Yeah.
Which would be 671 over 1296,
27 for the one time.
about 50.
Yeah, I wrote them all out.
And we just cross out those that had common factors.
No, that does not seem right because the probability of getting
You just need to roll 6 once.
right. Okay, so we have almost a 50% chance of rolling a 6 one time. Now that's a game I'd like to see. I'd like to actually try that experiment and see.
So then you roll a pair of dice 24 times. If you roll box cards, double 6s, any of the 24 times you win. So then in that case,
So you're adding
if you have
one more, so you add
12,
So you have
4,
you have
6, so that's what you're doing. So
how many options?
10, 15,
well, if we think about it, so there's only one option that wins, right? You have to get
6 and 6 out of how many options? 36?
36.
That did not.
So like, if you just made die,
where they're 30.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just made 10 die.
So then could
But
we
are there
do-
really 36? There's not really 36 options though, because like 2 and 4
Oh, because they double up.
So
is the
it's
same as 4
um,
and 2.
and then my next one is 6 because I have to add 3.
let's have 36. 18.
Mm,
There's
But it's-
8.
I understand like 50% now.
I don't think that's right. Because I've done this before where they're
But I don't.
done.
Oh, but that was excluding those. So
Because the doubles are
doubles say.
I barely know how to work.
So you have one.
Like I click something, I think I'm double clicking. So
What's wrong with it? What don't you want?
It's like inverted colors.
Ooh. Like, how did you do
I don't know. I do it often. And I'm
2, 2, 3,
like,
There's a lot of buttons going on here. Oh, their accessibility.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
That's that.
6, 7, 8, 9,
so we've done that.
10, 11,
So
12,
7.
13, 14. Did I do that right or wrong? No, I did that wrong.
Well, we don't want to eliminate the doubles.
No, I know.
Because-
I want to figure out how many.
Right,
Not the 1, 1. You want to
right.
erase.
Is the 1, 2, and 2, 1.
Yeah.
Is this based on what team
This is for the,
you don't mind. You
I
don't
think the concept. Because then you want 2, 2,
Oh, really? She went to
3, 2, 2.
It was so good. I loved it.
That was in the Northwest.
Yeah.
in Washington.
I
Absolutely.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. So 4s would have 3, would have 2,
and then
1.
six is zero.
So that's 6,
It's like we actually
5, 10, 15,
talked about. Not that
21 options.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's 21 options.
Those are the moments when TFA, it shows that TFA is a leadership
Yeah.
organization.
I don't know how to.
That's all off. It should be now. If you want me
There's 20 options
One of
out
them,
of 21. Well, there's 1 in 21.
one.
I don't understand that.
We get it.
But why do we need to do this?
Don't we want to do?
Well, is the movement, is the
So-
movement of the bus, you know what it
So we can't do 1 to the first.
This is my college physics class. all over.
Don't we need
It's a plane.
the opposite?
International space.
What 2020?
The coin deficit.
Don't roll it.
Estimate the proportion of fake data sets.
It's obviously fake. Okay.
But why they had to put obviously like that?
In 10 seconds or less? As the proportion.
10%.
Yes, 10 seconds or less. So just like your initial thoughts, why you think that.
Yeah.
We'll come back to something kind of similar to
Uh,
looking at that. But yeah, so just, well, that's one that we'll probably share too. But I know you,
about half. So 100. Wait. Is my 10 seconds up? I had some and then I lost it. Yeah, like no, okay, no, like your margin of error is 10% from a half, right? If
Plus or
it's
minus 10.
yeah. So if it's like if the if the probability is like 0.49 or the probability is 0.51, that is in the range that is too close for it to be real.
Says 10.
I don't know.
So we're supposed to estimate the proportion of fake data sets.
You roll a pair. It's 20.
Oh,
As Tina said, it's fake. It's 66.
8.
If it's right down the middle,
Real
she's saying
data
it's fake.
sets.
So would your 49 be fine? Or
wait, maybe it has to be out if it's in that. So if it's in that range, if it's like
So we're going
I miss my whiteboard so much.
Then back to heads and tails.
Mhm.
And then and now we're growing. So it just seems to be going back. So like you said, it probably is connected.
Pops up if you do. The probability of not
It has to.
getting it.
Oh,
It has to. Take a picture. But this is what in like
Huge.
fake. Like if it is that close,
But could
and
you
so
do
like I would be like, and it's like the 10th
maybe
of a half of a fifth, which is 100.
20 divided by 20?
Yeah. So if it's in one,
20 divided by 21,
and that's like 0.51.
0.95.
And if it's
And I want to
close
there.
in that range, it's
So
fake. Now if it's outside of that range, up until a certain point,
20
it's
to
like
the
90%.
or 21st.
Like you have some other aspects. So they have to like they have to do this here or here.
So the 24th power is,
too close.
I see what you're saying.
so I found the probability using the decimal calculator
Mhm.
is 0.31, which is
Of
31%.
never
Of
never
getting
getting.
it. So the probability of getting it
That was me today with recursive.
So you have a
so
better,
being 2 better
probability of you getting it.
yeah.
To me makes sense because
It's like you have the
it just makes sense because if you try, I don't know.
But it's like the birthday problem.
right. So you like do this
Oh.
every time.
I was thinking of theoretical and actual.
Or like you do it.
What do you call it?
I don't remember what the notation.
Experimental probability that the more you
No,
do
we didn't use like this.
experiment, the closer theoretical, but this isn't the same thing. But that's what I was thinking, or that's where I was going.
Whatever your function is.
That's just the probability. I mean, I should get it. There's the chance of never getting it.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm, whenever we do this, I'm sitting here thinking of the probability of me actually doing it, you know, and how often that happens.
There's only one question on it.
16, since they have those massive numbers of calculator.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
We did our 10 seconds.
Brian, they couldn't come up with another.
Brian. It should have been like Brian A, Brian B.
Please do not take a picture. If I
That's an idea.
7th graders,
Oh, they would have lost.
class would have stopped because it's too valid.
I've been there, I've been there.
Okay.
Well, theoretically,
That is, that you're making.
Right.
You know, so it has to be at least.
So, that's a great question. We're supposed to think about that. We thought about it, but.
Yeah, it's been long over.
So is the probability of that occurring one?
Just moving through stuff. Okay.
The probability.
I don't necessarily know that's the probability. I
Perfect.
think it's a two-part question. Each time there's a 1/6
Oh, I
chance
see what
one
you're
of them would
saying.
get picked.
Right.
I think it's what is the probability of it only taking the minimum number of meals.
Right.
Mhm.
So then you
Let's
want to
just-
go 1/6 to the 6th power?
We got a list.
Well,
We know.
35, 36, 49, 64.
I mean,
times.
That's
So you all got time to think about it, darn it.
Dang. Google hasn't loaded yet.
So this would be the same as like rolling a die.
Well, that's what I was
And what is
thinking.
it? What are the chances of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in any order?
Yeah.
So isn't it 1/6 times 1/6 times 1/6 6 times?
No, I
Did you say 13?
That's another
First was 3.
Yeah. So again, we're back. So we have 6 to the 6th outcomes.
3.
Well, wouldn't it be, hold on. So the minimum number would be 6. So we have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we have 6.
Maybe we're adding like
We
a
have 6 to the 6th. Now we think about it after. So that's our total number of outcomes. Then
The second
Then we
time
have
is 5 out of 6.
5 times 3 for
Then
factorial.
4 out of 6.
Yep.
3.
3 times 2 times 1,
I was gonna say is
which I think is 120.
number.
Do you remember?
Oh, it's not 30.
Well, 4 factorial is 24, I can tell you that.
It was 196, which was the cutoff, which is
5 times 4
4.
times 3
4
times
squared. 4 squared was the cutoff.
720.
720.
So if we
I
Out
feel like
of
I did that wrong.
did 100
30
and
times 24.
that would be 130.
6th power?
What would 114 squared be? Like, would that be the cutoff?
Yeah.
Does it make sense what I just said?
No, we didn't. 46.
Well, so then you have 6 to the,
What was
1/3.
so we get 20 out of 6 to the 4th,
so we can't? I don't think it can be a factor.
which we did.
So if you
That's
did
what I did. 6 to the 4th was what,
Yep.
1,296?
Yep.
Wait, what did you get?
1,296 or 6 to the 4th.
Right. It's 20 over 1,296.
does it work that way? 409?
But isn't it like the between them is exponential
I
growth?
don't know.
Squares.
I think I did my simple side wrong.
You can't take 4 out
Well,
of that.
that can go
Times 3, 6.
5 times.
Yeah, just say
So cancel that out.
put it together and put it together and add them. It doesn't work.
Cancel that out. So,
What is that?
oh wait, because you could. What did you say you got?
That's what I was
20. You can simplify.
Right.
6 times 6 times 3 times 6 is 648.
I don't know what
Which
it
should probably be half of 1296.
is, and as it gets bigger forever.
Right.
Alright.
It has something to do with
We're going to come together in about 3 minutes just to sort of wrap up and talk about our next session.
4% chance.
oh,
So B, what is the maximum number of meals it will take for each of them? At least 4?
Except
Just close, non-closure.
non-closure. I don't know. It was like disclosure, non-disclosure.
Accept it all. Just come.
Non-closure is every day.
Except
Just accept what's gonna happen.
That's not the norm. The next amendment.
Except
Accept it. Oh, gosh.
I think she gave us like 5 minutes.
Oh, we have 5 more minutes.
Can you tell us again when we're going to
And
wrap up?
Yep, in about 3-4 minutes.
Hurry up, please.
Something else we thought.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. So what? So you think a 4?
Well, we can accomplish what we get a 10
That
out of
Well, the maximum is all of the
the largest
all the
purpose
possible.
and 14 squared is the largest
Doesn't the maximum
number.
infinity and beyond? Because one card can just never get picked.
Not that this is, but
I
you can
suppose-
reduce
yeah.
that down to 5 over 324, not that that really matters.
No.
So-
Where did I make my simplifying? Oh yeah, that too.
Sorry. I was random in order and whatever, but.
No.
So what were you saying, that the maximum number?
Well, I was thinking so the maximum, but Chelsea's right. Like it could just happen that like one just never like like
No,
there isn't a maximum.
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how can, I was
19.
theoretically,
Yeah, it would be the,
Not for 20,000. So that was one.
there's the, well, you one card sticker.
well, that's what, no, I'm,
Somebody always puts theirs in the middle and it never gets picked.
Take away one.
some people are just lucky.
I'm gonna put there'll always be that one chance that it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there's that one teeny tiny chance that Marla always has to pay.
Exactly,
Right.
that's, or Brian, since there's 2 of them. So what is the mean number of meals it will take before each of them is paid at least once? If it's an infinite number, how can you find the mean?
Infinity.
Did you see this? Problem 11 was never posed by nor solved by Pascal, who always paid in cash. Sorry.
And yeah, so you get 3 rolls, and you're going to get all 5 dice to be the same number. You can save dice from one roll to the next. There are other rolls, but it's not called Yahtzee for nothing. You find the probability that if you try for it, you will get a Yahtzee of all 6 by the end of your 3rd.
Oh my
roll.
god, no.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, oh my gosh, no, on that one. I'm not that you shouldn't play with that at some other time, but if I could kind of just bring us back together for a few minutes here. I noticed, which is great, like you guys sort of ended up in different places and talking about different questions. One thing I wanted to highlight, I'll just do share my screen again. I think that's the easiest way to talk about these, and then you guys will actually Oh my gosh, I don't know why I keep clicking don't show my these tips, but every time it shows me like tips for sharing my screen, and then I get confused. Like what? Okay. So come on. Wait, what is going on? This might be a. This isn't.
Oh, share screen.
Well, maybe my computer is also like I'm done with you. Let's see. I don't. I was just in here, so. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Oh, perfect. So I should have probably done this first. I know it's really hard to see. There were two different, one from Kenosha, one from Tulsa. I think this is Rhonda's page. And so, and then we're gonna, not to ruin the surprise, but also not so Rhonda doesn't feel pressured or singled out. Oops, that's not the one. That's not the one. Let's hope we can find it. I mean, I will find it, but this one, yeah. So we're gonna these two pages. I think this was Julie's, had kind of really different approaches to number 6, and I think both are logical and in the kind of the spirit of our norms and just thinking about problems from many different ways. Just for a couple minutes, if Rhonda, do you want to talk through how you thought about the problem, and then we can flip over to Julie's, and you can just sort of see the difference of the two thoughts.
For 6A?
Yeah.
So what I was looking at is I was looking at it as that order mattered, and that's with replacement. So then I just figured out for the first one that there were 25 possibilities altogether, and 6 of them would have a factor other than 1. So then from there, so that was 19 out of 25, and then from there I just continued to add on for 6B. Then for 6B, I figured out there were 13 that had factors other than 1, and then just for 7 there was 1 more. And then I just, instead of figuring out the whole thing, I just added the ones that were added on that would have factors other than 1, greater than 1.
Perfect. And I mean, this, we wanted, I think actually what we wanted here was this number first was the ones that do not share the common factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I read the problem differently too the first time. So that was one way to look at it. So with replacement and order mattering. And then that was kind of using patterns as a thing that you probably have done in a lot of different types of sessions. And then Julie, do you want to talk about what you did here? I think it's yours, right?
It's Aaron's. It's from our group.
Oh, sorry, Aaron. Okay, yeah.
Talk about it. You want me to talk about it?
Or anybody talk about it, yeah.
What do you want me to explain?
Like how you approach the problem and what you kind of noticed.
Yeah.
So, we talked it through together. So
sure.
But, we had 2 different approaches going on, but ended up at the same result. And one was the picture you're looking at there, which was like writing out all the different combinations. We did not think in terms of, we read the problem, if you pick 2 integers, so you're going to reach in that bag, you're going to pull 2 integers out, if they're marbles. So there's not any like pick one first and pick a second one.
Right.
And what we noticed was that each time you're adding 1 more than the last for your total. So we saw that there were 10 possibilities in the first from 1 to 5, and only one of those, the 2, 4, did not work. So 9 of 10 was your probability. And then when you added 6, you got 5 more possibilities, added the number 6. So then there were 15 possibilities or 15 combinations, but because you're adding an even number, now you had 4 that didn't work. Because that 6 would not work with the 2, 4, or the 3. And then you had your original 2, 4 that didn't work. So then that made the next one 11 of 15. And as we carried that down, then it became 17 of 21, and 21 of 28, and 27 of 36 were the ones that pairs that did not share a common factor greater
Yeah, I just thought it was, oops, now I stopped sharing, but now I've like can't see you guys and that feels weird. Okay. I just thought it was interesting how different the two approaches were. And I think there's probably many, many others. When we did a lot of these problems together, the newer facilitators and me, and we were all looking at it, and sort of I heard a little bit of this conversation first, like, well, is it with replacement or is it without? Is it like this? Is it not? And it was purposely left kind of really open-ended because there's so many different ways you can approach it. And I don't know, one thing I always think about is like when students approach problems, they often do it in many different ways, right? Sometimes there are areas where you're like, actually, no, that doesn't work. You can't approach the problem as in this way, but for this, it can. So I'm just gonna give you guys like couple minutes to, if there is anything lingering or that you want to kind of share, or you can always either like Slack me, email me, whatever, independently if you don't want to share whole group. But if there is anything you want to share whole group, you can get your thoughts together while I finish our kind of wrapping up. Our next session is October 22nd, right? Everybody's got that down? Okay, good. And that's almost like a double check for me too, making sure that that's exactly right. And the kind of final thing is I'll always end just like a few minutes early because it is going to be really helpful, probably as you noticed last year too, if you kind of get your notes together, organized in a way that you can bring it back. The problem sets, I don't know how much they played were continuous last time.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not super continuous this time, but there's going to be things that you're going to want to like go back to and to look at again. We're not going to have like that giant table that a lot of groups had last year. It's not that much. So I say these things, I don't even know what that fully means. So I haven't done that whole problem set, but it's still just always good practice. And we are going to like continue to build our thinking and our knowledge around different outcomes and probability and formalizing some language. So if you can take a couple minutes to organize your stuff and jot down anything that you might want to bring back next time, or I don't know. But other than that, I will see you guys in a couple weeks. I really want to thank you. I'll be honest, like for us, I'll speak for myself. I don't know about how everybody else felt. I wasn't really sure how this would work, and I wasn't even fully sure what I was going to be doing. I've done a lot of professional learning but always in person. So it's a little different for me. I hope I improved throughout the sessions, but you guys were awesome. And I just want to really thank you for digging into it and sharing your work and your thoughts. So
Thank you.
thanks. And have a great one. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
So is this one of the last sessions in the last one? It just seems like it doesn't go.
There was 11 last time, right?